haha, buddy. You can ride a foot away from my bumper and I'm just gonna go the speed limit. Look at this guy, it's ridiculous. I mean, how stupid can you get? So this guy just passes me crazy style because there's a car in front of me, and now he's riding this guy's bumper and this guy's going slow. Hilarious. I don't know if it's the state I live in or what, but like I said, it's so stressful around here. Oh, there he goes. Oh, Massachusetts. Welcome to Massholes. Alright, going for an evening cruise in the Cobra. I'm gonna talk about pretty much what why I bought this car. Make it like a part 1 series or something. Because, I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of reasons and I'm gonna forget a lot. My idle's a little weird. I'm sure if I got a new Mass Air Lethal Venom there recommended the SCT, is it SCT? 2600? Yeah, 2600 for a Mass Air instead of this extender thing I have. So we'll see how that goes. Granny shifting, not double clutching like I should. Man. But I'm at that point in my life now. I mean, when I was younger, when I was 16, yeah, it was all about speed. You know, we're trying to be the fastest in town, the fastest, you know, in our area. But I'm not about any of that. I didn't even buy this car for performance or speed or anything. I fell in love with this car when I heard the thing. And it looked mean as hell going down the street. I was like, that's the best Mustang they've ever made, I remember. And it's stuck with me ever since. I mean, there hasn't been a better one. I have never been a fan of the newer body style Mustangs. Granted, the Salines and the Super Snakes, like the Shelbys, they look nicer. The ground effects on them, and the S550s are a nicer GT now, I'll give them that. But this is it's on a whole different level, you know? There's always somebody gonna be faster than you, all the time. There's nothing like the sound of these cars. It's the 4 cams, you know, it's all the valves, it's the supercharger, it's the way the exhaust is routed, it's everything. It makes this car sound the way it does, act the way it does. It's got a personality, it's different. Those new Mustangs are a dime a dozen. That's why I tell these people, I'm like, why would I want something like that? I just wanted to end the discussion, terminate the discussion. This is my dream car, and might as well just stop thinking about it and get it. A bunch of people were just staring at the road. This must be louder outside than I think it is. The car does pretty well at keeping the sound outside. It does get loud in here sometimes though. I'm gonna pull over. This guy, I can't stand when people ride my bumper, so I'm gonna pull over here for a second. Plus I gotta go over some bumps and I'm gonna be going slow, so I don't wanna irritate people either. It's like a weight's lifted off my shoulder and people are not near me. Yeah, I've always been a Mustang fan. always since I've been a little kid. Fox bodies, 5.0s. My dad had Mustangs. And yeah, he actually had some before I was interested in them. It's funny, because when I got interested in the Fox body, and I was telling him about my interest in him, because I heard him for the first time. This was back in like the 90s when I was like 8, 9 years old. He pulled out his wedding book and he was like, I had one, and started telling me about it. He custom ordered it or whatever in like 86 or something like 84, 86. And he said it was like he kept telling me it was a 6-cylinder. And even back then I knew better. I'm like, I think they only made him in 4 or 8. No, he's swearing by it. It was a 6-cylinder, and that's all I could get. And, my son's soccer practice. And, yeah, so I was saying it had to have been the 4-cylinder. And it was. Sorry, driving, filming. But anyways, he had a Mustang, and it was like a charcoal gray, like some weird color that I didn't think Ford had. But he had this car, so he was into them, and he had Cougars when he was a kid. But yeah, I talked him into it, and he ended up getting a 1990 Mustang 5.0. It sounded like your typical Mustang. It was nice. The only thing I didn't like about it was an automatic. And he said it was better at the time because who needs to be shifting and blah, 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 blah. But then after he had it for a while, he wanted a standard. So he ended up selling that. He got into an accident, actually, and then he sold it. Okay, you don't want to stay on? That's fine. It's a dangerous corner. It's a big hill. So he sells the 90, or he crashes the 90, gets into an accident. I think either someone pulled out in front of him or he hit an animal, I forget. But he ended up getting a nice 5-speed. It was a S95. I think it was a 95. It was a 5.0 still. That's what surprised me. It was a 5.0. And it had, your exhaust, your typical mods on a Mustang. So it sounded nice. It sounded really nice. Man, this car does get a lot of attention. A lot of attention. And he had that for a while, and I was always set on getting a Mustang. I had a piggy bank for a Mustang, but as I got into high school and getting into cars and turbos were the huge thing. And my buddy who died had a Thunderbird turbo coupe, so he was like always on the Mustang platform. And that's when I got the Talon TSI all-wheel drive and souped that up and raced Mustangs. I went a different direction, it's people change, I was one of those people who would say, I'm gonna have this forever, you're gonna bury me with this, but yet I change, so I look at myself now and I'm like, I can't say for sure anything anymore, because I do change on some things. Some things are concrete in my life, like my faith, but material things, they change. But the Cobra in 2004 and 2003, when I had I think I had the Talon then, or into the DSMs, that Mustang came out, and I was like, wow. And when I heard one in person for the first time, it was over. Best sounding Mustang I've ever heard in my life. And it was loud. The kid who had one around here, his was really loud. You could hear it coming like a mile away, and it was just... So yeah, his Mustang was super loud. It was yellow too, bright yellow. Like a bumblebee. I hated it. I hated that color yellow. I was never into the bright cars, but as you get older, like I said, I mean, yellow's not bad. It's not something I would drive, but I don't hate it anymore. I've changed. But anyway, I always thought, I'm like, if I ever get a Mustang, it's gonna be an 03 Cobra. There's no other Mustang for me. I liked Fox bodies too. I was in love with them because I have a lot of memories in Fox bodies. And when my dad had the 90, it was like, had some Cobra stuff done to it. So I always loved the 93 Cobra. But the 03 Cobra is like the top dog as far as sound, and it looks mean. Can't get that with a Fox body. Yes, it can look pretty mean, but not as mean as an 03 Cobra. And it's all opinion. People can think different things. It's subjective. Stuff I'm saying is very opinionated. It always like has this little exotic sound to it inside the car. That's what I always thought when I first got into this, when I picked it up. It's funny when I picked this thing up. When I finally got to the guy's house, because he picked me up off the plane, and me and my son drove with him to his like farm big garage thing, and the car was outside, it was getting super dusty. That's why those early pictures of the car had a lot of dust on it. And he didn't drive it much. And he didn't have it long either, because like I said, he wanted to turn it into a race car, but it was too nice, so he debated what to do and decided to sell it. But yeah, when he came out, I just like remember being like starstruck when I saw the car. I was just like, wow. I think that's all I kept saying, wow, that's awesome. Like just looking at it, because he wasn't really around the car. He just kind of, as I was saying wow, he was like popping the hood, and he started up, and he like walked away for a while, and I was just like looking around, and like he came back, and he was like, so you want to check it out some more? You want to take it for like a test drive and come back? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll just get going, you know? And because it looked great. Everything looked great. I'm like, it looks great, man. It's exactly how you said it would look. And I'm just, you know, this is my dream car, so I'm a little taken back right now. And it was freezing. I remember, I thought going down south to Georgia it was going to be warm. It was freezing that day, because I guess it was like the one freak day where it was going to be really cold there. And because I was like, man, it's warmer where we live up north. But it was so different down there. The whole atmosphere was different, you know. There were very anti-masks down there. That's a whole nother story. So why I got the Cobra. Yeah, 11th grade. I was in high school, 2003 when it came out, when I saw it. Started watching the videos, like Blades videos and Cobra versus Supra videos. That's why I'd always see these things on the highway doing like super big highway pulls. So I'd be surprised when like I looked into these nowadays, and I'm on the forums before I owned it, and heard people saying like you gotta stay away from 5th and 6th gear and all this type of stuff, which kind of scared me a little bit. I'm like, why can't you gun it in 5th or 6th? I thought the transmission was strong, yada yada yada, and gotta dodge these bumps. But yeah, I guess I found out, I think if I'm understanding this right, it's bad because usually you're gunning it from a lower gear getting up to 5th and 6th, so by the time you get up to 5th and 6th, you're creating a lot of heat already, right? Is that what I'm understanding? So, but I mean, if you're just cruising on the highway and your car's cool and you gun it in like 4th into 5th, I mean, are you gonna hurt your car just doing that a couple times? You can answer below. I don't know if this has the head cooling mod. I keep forgetting to find out. I'm sure I can somehow look and see. But I fell in love with this car. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with everything about it. The spoiler, the looks of it, all the little changes they did. I wonder if my son's still at his soccer. A lot of people leaving. It looks like they're wrapping things up. Yep, we're leaving. His mom coaches with my mom, actually, which is funny. It's me and his mom aren't together. But yeah, I actually wanted a Supra for a while. So I actually wanted a Supra for a while. I said if I ever get, you know, the car of my dreams, it's gonna be a Supra. It was that way for a while. Shifting with my left hand, camera in the right. But yeah, I don't know. I got older, a little bit older, you know, and I'm not talking too many years. And like last year, I wanted like a Supra, but I was loving Mustangs, and things changed. I don't know. It was Supra or 03 Cobra. They were on the same playing field all the time, and I want this sound. And what did it for me was I couldn't find the car I was looking for. So I said, I need to get into a car I can shift now, V8, something with value. I mean, and I was seeing 93 Cobras popping up everywhere. And I was like, well, this would be a cool thing to say I owned one and drove one, and if I ever need to sell it, I got the money right here, and I can get a different car, you know, the Terminator, if one pops up. It's just a funny thing, is it? I found the 93 Cobra. This was like, I don't know, 8 weeks ago. I don't know. Not too long ago. And I made arrangements with the guy, saved, flew down there, drove the car back from Delaware to Massachusetts, not too far. I think I have a little short video on it that my phone made by itself. I like when it does stuff like that. It makes like memory trips for you. It just pops it up. That's what kind of got me into this stuff. I was like, I wonder if I can just try and film, and I gotta figure out how to edit videos, because this is probably really boring, like I said on the last one. Justin said it's like riding along with me though. Going for a cruise, checking out Massachusetts. Little bump. I drove back with that car, and it was funny. When I was driving back, I was smiling. My son even said it when I first took off in that, because I had not driven a Standard in like 10 years, you know, because I've been in pickup trucks and just doing a different thing. I got out of the car scene, and so this was the first car I drove, you know, and I didn't test drive this either. I drove it right away and left. Not because I was struck by it, because it was freezing up there that day, and we were just all cold, and I wanted to get going, and my son was cold. I had a bad headache that day too on that trip, because I didn't eat much, and we were up early. These flights I find are like at 2, 3 in the morning. You got to get up, so you don't really sleep at all. But anyways, it was a fun trip. I loved it. I love these trips, you know, going in the hotel. We did even that Jersey trip, it was only like, or not Jersey, Delaware, it was only like a 6-hour drive. I think it was 6 hours, but I made a 2-day thing out of it. It's not my UPS guy. Sorry guys, I'm trying to drive and shift with one. So that's why I'm not shifting as good as I usually do. But fun trip, and the whole trip back, like I'm loving the car, and I'm already getting super used to it. And then it's the Terminator always is in the back of my mind. It's hard to explain. It's like that thing you can't get out of your mind. It's like, oh, if you were in one of those, I wonder what that would sound like. Imagine going on a trip to pick up one of those, I was saying to myself. And I was like telling myself, like, Josh, just be happy with this right now. Like, just be content with this. And that's what I was really trying to do. I was literally talking myself out of this car. I was like saying ridiculous things like, you're not gonna like the interior, you're only paying for a motor and a transmission, and blah blah. I mean, I was really trying to put this thing down to try and get it out of my mind so I could just enjoy that 93 Cobra for a little bit, but I couldn't. And when I got home, things just got worse. Yeah, so things got worse when I got home. The Terminator thing was just in the back of my mind. Even one of my friends, hey, what kind of car did you get? My Cobra. And he's like, oh, Terminator? And I'm like, no, 93 Cobra. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And I didn't buy this car for somebody else. This was on my mind. And all these SVT forums and stuff I'm on Facebook, and it's just, they're always popping up. And one happened to pop up. I mean, one day it was just things, it was enough was enough type of thing. I was like, if I see one, I'm just gonna list this thing for sale, and it's over. 93 Cobra's gone. Because I was trying to get attached to that, but I'm really not. I wasn't sad when it went away. It was just, it was time. Look how cool this thing is. Same color. So sweet. I think I made a little unboxing video. Hood does not stay open. It comes with a little hood prop. It's in the wrong spot though. That's the only thing that's kind of off about it. But other than that, I mean, it's awesome. This thing is so cool. Look at that front end. Finally got one. I paid a good amount of money for this, but I couldn't find any of them. I kept trying to get them for like $250, and I would get outbid, and the struggle is real.